There I'll go. So this presentation today is about integrating MediaWiki with Microsoft 365. Let me shortly introduce myself. Thank you, Bernard, already for the introduction. So my name is Viktor Schelling. Long history working with MediaWiki indeed, more than 10 years now, I think. I work for Pegasystems, and Pegasystems has a huge wiki, an enterprise wiki with lots of unstructured data in there. Many users. We use Semantic MediaWiki too. We use structured discussions and a couple other add-ons, but it's quite a simple wiki actually under the hood. So Microsoft 365 and MediaWiki have typically not been, well, how would you say that, friends? There's usually, I think, a couple of us work in organizations where they use Microsoft. There's no getting around that. And these persons typically like to use SharePoint, and MediaWiki has its own benefits. This is, I think, an endless discussion, and we'll have no winners. The MediaWiki has its own use case, and SharePoint too, of course. So let's take a look at what makes Microsoft 365 actually decent. Well, I always think that their homepage is pretty good, in terms of discoverability, at least. You can immediately see across all services that it offers what's happening. And then in particular, it shows you what is happening in your sort of bubble, your direct colleagues, what they're working on, which makes it really easy to recover a file that has been maybe shared with you some time ago, or to discover some new page that is being worked on. And the search is also good. It offers a federated search. It can search among many applications, also has a people index. So yeah, let's see. So how did actually Microsoft actually accomplish that? So you can imagine that it has so many services that with their own APIs, that at some point they scratched their head and they figured, hey, maybe we have to create a single front door for all of our applications. And that's when they come up with something called the Microsoft Graph. This is called a graph because it connects all the services. It's not called a graph because it's a knowledge graph per se. So this offered a single API that can be used to query all of their data. And if they are using it themselves too for creating that front page, and probably in other places as well. So you only have to authorize once, and you only get data back that you're allowed to see. Or if you have a higher level permission, then you get to see everything, of course, but pretty rare to get that access level. So that is a really nice model for them. So we found out a while ago that you can add your MediaWiki data to Microsoft Graph and have it integrated, well, basically on the level of their native services on those home places like the homepage of Microsoft 365. And you can do this through something called a Microsoft Graph connector. You can see it on the right. Microsoft Graph ingests data from 365 products, Windows 10, and Enterprise Mobility and Security. And you can add your own external data to it. And then, for example, their search interface and also their interfaces like timeline portals and etc. They call that graph to display the information. So we want that because we want to narrow the gap between Microsoft and MediaWiki at our company. So we've been looking into that, and they have a couple off-the-shelf connectors, among which is MediaWiki. They also have Salesforce, Confluence, but it turned out that the MediaWiki connector is a little bit limited in some ways. I'll step into that later. But if you get it hooked up, it's really easy to install. I'll dive into the limitations in the next slide, but you'll enable the following discoverability services, search. You can reference files within Microsoft 365 applications. You have the Viva platform, which enables stuff like insights. So what are trending items, maybe trending pages at your company? Which ones are getting the most views? Context IQ is for referencing a page. Well, I'm not sure about the context IQ at the moment. I think the primary doubting point for me is what the difference is between app and context IQ, but they are, I think app is used for searching within stuff like SharePoint, and context IQ is, for example, when you're within Teams, you type a forward slash, and then it can suggest, for example, a wiki page for you to reference in your conversation. And then there's M365 Copilot, which is sort of the enterprise ChatGPT version that Microsoft developed, which can tap into your whole enterprise data suite and take role-based access control into account to answer any of the questions you have. So the limitations of that, let's dive into that shortly. The ones I marked in bold are important. I'll get to that. So it works out of the box. That is very important. A limitation is that it's cloud-based only because it has to connect from a server that Microsoft has directly to your instance, so it needs to access it. It can only do basic auth or OAuth 2.0, so it does not take into account access control list. It can only index the main category and file namespace, unfortunately. And this one is pretty important. It does not have, it does not ingest activity records. So it does not ingest, for example, that I modified a page a couple minutes ago. So you will not be able to see with this connector that, for example, I opened up a page or edited a page a short time ago, and thus improving discoverability. It also does not allow you to synchronize Semantic MediaWiki properties, which does offer a substantial benefit to the content that you can search through from Microsoft. So we wanted to create a little bit of a better one because, well, this is just sort of a placeholder picture. It only allows you half of the capabilities that Microsoft can offer you with that out-of-the-box connector. And the primary things for those are no activity records, no SMW data, and a very limited set of namespaces. So we've been starting on this a couple months ago, and this is where we are currently at. We have built a custom graph connector. Mind you, this was not easy to begin with. It was a sort of a greenfield research for us. It's also written in .NET, which is something new for us. So we did add the flexibility in namespaces and the inclusion of semantic properties, and we got our content actually in Microsoft Graph. So that is very good, and the search results are very good. But you can see that because we did not synchronize activity records yet, it does not personalize the result yet for you. And then after that, we need to make it production ready to do code cleanup and everything. And one thing we've decided that we'll not be doing is ACL. So we have a very open wiki at Knowledge Hub at Pegasystems. So we do not use the extension lockdown, for example, so certain sections are not locked off, and therefore we have decided not to implement that. So if anybody else might want to implement that later, that is certainly possible. So those were a couple of the challenges. Another challenge for us, which is ongoing, is creating, well, we've developed it for Pega's use case now, of course, and we really like to give back to the community. And we still have to find a way to package it in a way that it is usable for others. So I can promise you that we're thinking about it, and we are committed to it, but we have no substantial plans now for releasing it yet. But if anybody wants to try it out for themselves, creating a custom connector, then of course I'm always ready to and happy to help. So the activity sync requirements is also a little bit harder because this requires more data on your wiki that is typically there. For example, you have to track view logs already because you want to synchronize those to Microsoft to create that personalization. Also, Microsoft user IDs are required on the MediaWiki site, and you probably want something like SSO login, which is already connected to Microsoft AD for actually grabbing those. And this I think is technically a step too far to go into this with this presentation. but it also requires different infrastructure to synchronize. So we are far from done yet, but I think this is a very, very exciting technology we're tapping into, and the business value for this is just tremendous. It is really, I think, the way for bringing MediaWiki and Microsoft together. So I think I only have 10 minutes, and that's it for now. So let's ask, are there any questions?
Thank you, Victor. We have a question directly from Microsoft.
It's not a question. A comment from Microsoft. So, yes, I'm Jeffrey Wong. I work at Microsoft. I have no relation to MyWiki0. I want to say that, I'm super excited to see this great work that's being done. I don't think the company has invested any efforts in improving the existing MediaWiki connector, to be honest with you. So this work is really substantial for our community, our being MediaWiki community. And I think this shows that, we don't want to look at Microsoft as a competitor, look at it as a friend and as a companion and as a complement to every MediaWiki. So, Pega is utilizing the full power of Microsoft Copilot, the entire, what we call the substrate platform internally. I think that's what you call Microsoft Graph. It's super powerful, it's all unified, and that's exactly what you need to sync your data from MediaWiki to a enterprise knowledge store. So rest assured, if anyone wants to help this project, my role is I can look at internal source code, right? And the documentation on there, I'm very sorry. Not speaking as a Microsoft employee here, just speaking personally, I'm very sorry for saying the documentation. It's no secret that we don't really like writing our documentation. That's why, I'm more than happy to look at the internal source code for you, and we can help figure that out.
Thank you, and also thank you for all the help you've offered already so far.
No problem. Rest assured, we have the support, and this is definitely going to be done no matter what. So, yeah, thank you.
Great, thank you. Also, full disclaimer, we didn't roll out Copilot company-wide yet. We are still in an evaluation period.
Well, how am I going to get my raise now?
You heard that? He just said how we get his raise now. Okay, so thank you then, Victor. Good luck with your baby.
Thank you.
And thank you for being here anyway. Bye.
Bye, everyone.